you can't.
When you
set
identify the
denominator
holes,
to 0.
So
To
after
find
you find
vertical
your hole, you
asymptotes.
set your denominator equal to 0. Now,
the
Don't-
third step literally says find a vertical
don't use the original, don't use the factored. You're using your simplified version,
Simplify.
okay? And you're going to set that denominator equal to 0 and solve.
Yay.
And what we
You
get
sound like
is our vertical asymptote, which I abbreviate.
I don't know if it's God
VA.
I like that.
Actually, I'm going to use a color for
No,
this.
you made yourself sound like that person.
sexy. That was really cute.
Okay, it's a video.
Stop! Okay, so we have a vertical asymptote at x equals 3 because
Just
if
the
I
number.
were to plug 3 into our function, I would get 1 over 0, which I can't do. Which means x is not allowed to be 3. He can be anything else. He can't be -1, and he can't be 3.
Need my highlighters.
But he can't be 3, and he is a type of non-removable discontinuity.
Oh boy. Oh good lord.
Oh!
Zero horizontal.
I understand now. We're trying to find two
I'm so happy
asymptotes.
for you.
Really, Tristany?
A vertical and a horizontal.
Yep, yep.
I don't know why.
I can't.
I really did not get that.
Alright, after you find vertical, what's the next step?
Horizontal.
Horizontal.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to look at our simplified
so good.
function, and we're going to look at the degree. Is the degree greater on the top, the bottom,
It's
or
the
are
same,
they the same?
because they're both
You
one of them's
know-
0 because there's no x on the top.
Okay, so the degree of the numerator is 0,
Wait,
because
why?
there's no x on the top.
So then the one on the bottom is bigger.
And
Bottom
then the
heavy
degree
ladies
of the
and
bottom
gents.
is 1. So it's bottom heavy. So the degree of the numerator is, or the degree of the denominator is greater than the degree of the numerator. Then your horizontal asymptote is
Always
at
is.
y equals 0 because it is bottom heavy.
It's it's always 0.
So the horizontal one is the smaller one?
Smaller one.
It's the one that goes the other direction.
They're equal.
Wait,
and
Tristany, I
like-
really hope you're just saying stuff just to say stuff.
No. The 0? Why do you choose the 0 not the 1?
What are you talking about? No. If the degree of the denominator is greater than the degree of the numerator, the
Yeah, it's
asymptote's
just
at
0.
0.
Okay, I get that.
It's just like
It's a
something you
rule.
memorize.
It has to do with what I was showing you guys yesterday. Remember when I was
Yeah, I
like,
wasn't
where's this
here.
number going? Yeah, you weren't here yesterday. And remember it was getting closer and closer to 0?
I like that time.
Observe. This is our function. If I plug in 10, I get 1 over 7. If I plug in 100, I get 1 over 97. If I plug in 1,000, I get 1 over 997. Where is this number getting closer to?
0.
0. That's why your asymptote's at 0.
Yeah, I
But
remember
it'll
that.
never be zero.
But I thought it was like a negative.
No,
It'll
but it's
never
gonna
be
get
0 because it's
Close
exponential.
to 0, and that's why the
That's
asymptote's
that's
at
yeah.
0.
That's where the wall just like goes like yo.
Alright.
Not in my house.
Back.
Yeah.
Now.
Show.
After we get our asymptotes, any holes, all that, we're going to do intercepts and then anything else that we need to graph the thing.
Ooh, let me bring up my rules.
So x-intercept. How do we find x-intercept?
If the degree of the
base
denominator
is a
denominator
Plug in 0
degree
for
of
y.
numerator is a SA. Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong text. I don't know.
This is from yesterday.
Emma.
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
/ basic knowledge of math. To find your x-intercept, you plug 0 in for y and you have to solve.
Oh, I was like, what?
Alright. Oh, actually, stop.
Okay.
I forgot we simplified it.
Yes.
Gosh, coach.
If you use that,
Wow.
yeah, that would be bad.
I
If you
feel
use
like
the
you
original, and it's going to look like we have an
You
intercept, and we don't. Alright, so what we would do is multiply by x minus 3, and we'd get,
0.
Oh my god, the answer's no solution. There's no x-intercept.
okay,
The
so we have
answer's
no
false.
x-intercept. And the reason we don't have an x-intercept is because we have a horizontal asymptote here.
Yay.
Now,
we will have a y-intercept.
please note, you might want to write this down.
Okay.
Sometimes the graph will cross the horizontal asymptote. Sometimes.
Sometimes the
Not all the
graph
time,
will
though.
cross.
The horizontal asymptote. But it will never cross a vertical asymptote.
Wait a second. Explain that one more time.
It's complicated.
Wait, just out of curiosity, can you explain that one more time for me?
Sometimes.
Sometimes a graph will cross its horizontal asymptote, but it will
How?
never cross the vertical
How is
asymptote.
it allowed to do that? I thought it was a
I'll
barrier.
show you. We'll get to some.
Oh, you know what it is? You know why?
Basically, what will happen is it'll cross in a certain. It'll only cross in a certain situation where we have 2 vertical asymptotes.
Oh, well that makes
Oh.
sense.
And it could cross like in the middle,
What about
but
2
it won't
horizontal
cross
asymptotes?
here or here.
What
That
about
makes
2
sense.
horizontal
Yeah,
asymptotes?
It's like a conditional.
Right.
All right, going back to this, let's find our y.
You plug 0 and then it's 0 minus 3 negative. It's 1 negative
Can you
3.
just jot down
I mean,
what
negative
you
3.
said?
1/3. Negative 1/3.
Emma, are you okay?
So you get 1 over negative 3, which is negative 1/3.
Going home.
So your y-intercept is negative 1/3. So that's
Okay.
like not the world's cutest point, but it's like right here.
Hey, I think it's pretty cute.
Wait,
That's not really accurate. It's just like
did you
in
multiply
that
by
general
0?
area. What?
Oh, no.
You substitute in a 0 for x and solve.
We second.
I didn't brush my hair today because I didn't have a brush.
Okay,
I do mine in the car.
I have enough points
You got it.
to make this part of the graph. Okay, I have a hole and a point, which is essentially the same thing. So this is what my graph does. My curve is gonna come here. It's gonna jump over the hole. It's gonna hit this point, and then
It's so close to the
head over to x minus 3 and have a party.
Oh, party time. Let's go. What?
But I do need some more points over here.
The thing is though, the little.
So they're gonna have to be bigger than 3.
So they're gonna have to be bigger than 3 because our asymptote's at 3,
Let's
and we
do
want.
4 because then it's just 1. It's
Wait, how come
overcome
we're only
one.
doing 2?
That's
How
convenient.
come we're only
for
doing
us.
2 points? We're not doing 3 like usual.
Because this is stuff that we. Oh
What
my
are you
god!
talking about?
I just
All
like missed
yesterday we
this
did
one
2.
entire.
I know, but that's weird.
Okay, do 3 if you want to waste your time.
But why?
Anywho, if I plug in 4
Get one.
into our simplified thing, I get 1 over 4 minus 3, which is 1.
And then
so
5
4,
minus
1.
3,
Why
and
not
then
just
1
do
half
1?
is for 5.
And then if I plug in 5, I get a 2 down here, so that's going to be 1 half.
So 4, 1, 2, 3.
You're plugging this
you
into
will
the
get-
simplified?
Yes, you will get fractions sometimes, and you're just going to have to deal with them.
Okay.
Whatever.
Let's deal with the fractions.
Okay. So my graph is going to hang out.
They're not that bad though. They're not like weird fractions. Like you can just like put them in the middle.
Oh,
and
they
call
get
it
weird.
But like
You
you
get,
can just
like,
like put it in the
52
middle
over
and call it
49.
a day.
I try to keep the numbers a certain way, but you know.
52 over 49?
Yeah, you'll definitely get one of
52
those.
over 49.
You might.
That's just greater than 1 though. So then it's just like a 1 and then like
And the smidge,
it's
yeah.
like 7 over like 50.
Basically, right, so
Or
B.
you just flew, so you'll be here till one day.
Step 1,
Come on.
factor. Oh, can't do it. Step 2, do we have any
Holes.
holes?
Let's see. Yes.
No.
No.
No, because you can't factor.
Hey,
so
if you
can't-
thought we had
Well,
holes,
Just because you can't factor doesn't necessarily mean there's no holes, but typically
No, but like
it does.
if it was like x plus 3 or x plus 6, you could simplify.
No.
Yeah, you can
Why
factor
would you
too.
be able to simplify?
no, because Tristan, then you.
Only if it was like
Come on.
2x plus 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Or like 2x minus
You could
6.
factor the 2 out,
Yeah,
but
that-
like you
no.
still wouldn't even be able to have a hole after that.
But
'cause
Tristan,
that
you
means
couldn't
it's
like
like-
simplify it.
Oh yeah.
You would.
No, that
So it would be 2 over 1
Yeah, that's
and
what I
the
was trying to
whole be
say.
3.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about right now?
Yeah, but we don't have that. But yeah, that's a good point.
Darn.
So yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be like factor
Why is this not coming out?
like a trinomial. You could just be factoring out a greatest common factor. Alright, so can't factor, no holes. What comes after holes?
Oh, after holes we
Vertical.
have vertical
Identif-
asymptote.
Yes.
Asymptote.
So vertical asymptote.
Yeah,
So the vertical asymptote you find by doing what?
0.
I identify.
What about
No,
zero?
that's the intercept. Ow! I
I
just
thought you
stabbed
said equal
myself.
to 0.
You
Yeah.
set what equal to 0?
That whole thing.
No,
What?
just the denominator.
This half of it.
You just set the denominator equal to 0.
Oh.
That's your vertical asymptote. So we
Always?
get
Sorry.
Yes. always. So we get 3 again.
And your horizontal.
I'm not surprised we get
asymptote
3 again, to be honest.
Would be at. Does that one we set the top equal to 0?
No. Read your steps.
I don't remember.
Check your reader steps.
Well, oh wait, the top heavy, bottom heavy. They're the same.
They're the
What?
same. So for horizontal asymptotes, you are checking the degree of the numerator and the degree of the denominator.
They're both one.
So the degree of the numerator is 1, the degree of the denominator is 1. When they are equal, you take the coefficients.
Also 1. Oh no, it's 2. 2
So-
over 1.
This coefficient is 2, this coefficient is technically a 1. So your horizontal asymptote is at y equals 2 over 1, which is 2. So y equals 2 is where our horizontal asymptote is.
I can't draw a straight line.
Wait,
I have
so
rulers.
horizontal.
Question?
If
What is
they're
it?
not equal, we put 0.
So if the bottom one is more, then you put 0. If the top one's more, we do that Friday.
It's
Then that means
slanted.
you have a slanted asymptote.
We'll do that at
I have a
later
question,
date.
though.
Y equals.
Why didn't you do the things like the like before we took the exponent? Like the degree.
We did, I just erased that. The exponent is a 1 and a 1.
3.
When you
My
look at the
graph is wrong.
exponents, you're just checking the degree. So you're checking to see, is it top heavy, bottom heavy, or even?
They're even.
They're even. And because they're even, then we refer to the leading coefficients. If it was bottom heavy, we would go straight to y equals 0. And if it was top heavy, we would have to do long division, which we will do Friday.
I've discovered there are no x-intercepts if you want to know, because the 0, right?
No, there's an
No,
x-intercept.
there it is.
Alright, so let's look. X-intercept.
I don't know, man.
X-intercept is take your y, set it equals 0, and solve.
Somehow my pen got all of it.
Okay.
If there's x's in the numerator, you're going to get an intercept, because when you multiply over here, you do get 0, but you still have 2x plus 1
Oh,
left.
I thought I just like kind of stopped.
Yeah, well, we can keep going, because we can subtract 1 and then divide. So you have an x-intercept of -1/2.
0 equals 2x plus 1. I really need to like blow
So
my
itchy.
Oh my
These are
god.
itchy.
-1, 2 equals x. So negative.
Okay, and then y-intercept, you want to plug in 0 for x and solve.
Good point.
So the numerator, we have 0 plus 1, which is 1. Denominator, we have 0 minus 3, which is -3.
What?
So the y-intercept is going to be -1/3.
We're gonna do a vessel.
How much for it?
A high five.
$5?
A high five. 5 high fives.
Bring it.
Snack.
Come on. So we have enough points for the left side to make a curve. So we're going to connect those 2 points and then make a curve that gets closer to the asymptote.
2, 0 plus 1. 0 plus 1.
The other side, we're going to have to points.
Oh, 2 points.
So we want to pick something to the right of the vertical asymptote. So like, I'm just going to pick 4 and 5. They're fractions, they're fractions. So if I plug in 4, I get 9/1. So 4 comma 9. Just going to be a little bit off my graph.
Ooh, yikes. Wait. 4, 1, 2, 3.
If I do 5, I get 11/2, which is 5.5. That'll fit on my graph. So 5 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5.
1, 2, 3.
So I'm gonna do 6 just because I couldn't fit 4.
Ooh, mine
Let's
looks
see if it
cute.
fits. So 6 would be
That's
13/3, which is 4 1/3. So
6, 1, 2.
I think I did this wrong because look at my graph.
Probably did do it wrong,
1,
Tristan.
so there you go.
2, 4.
Look at that. Look at this one.
Yeah.
Be -5 and 1.
Nope.
-3 and 2.
You're doing so
Yes.
good, Tristan. You got it. 2.
-3 and 2.
You know, I always do that because -5 minus 1 is -4.
Okay, usually we factor with the purpose of looking to see if there's holes. Are there holes?
No.
No holes. That's okay. Factoring not only finds holes, it makes the rest of the question easier when we go to find our vertical asymptote. In order to set this equal to 0 and solve, you would have had to factor it anyway. So it's not like we wasted our time.
I got it.
So our vertical asymptote, if we set this equal to 0 and solve,
Both of them?
well, when you set this equal to 0 and
You
solve,
just factor.
you use the 0 product property and you set them both equal to 0 and solve, and you should get 3 and -2. So you have 2 vertical asymptotes.
What?
Oh no.
So in the event that one of your factors in the denominator doesn't cancel, and you wouldn't have a hole, you would just have 2 asymptotes. So 2 non-movable points of discontinuity.
Why did I make it look like that? Oh
How
my
come
God.
like after I take coffee medicine I cough more?
Coffee medicine?
Are you taking an expectorant or a cough suppressant? Vertical asymptotes.
Horizontal, my friend.
Horizontal. So for horizontal, we check the degree of the numerator and the degree of the denominator. What is the degree of the numerator? 0. What's the degree of the denominator?
1, so
One,
0.
No, it's 2.
So it's 0 altogether. The answer is 0.
I don't
Altogether,
get
it is still bottom heavy.
But how do you know the degree?
Wait, how do you know the
You just
degree?
know. Just deal
The
with it, guys.
degree is the highest
Oh, the amount of x's.
exponent
Oh.
of
Yes.
the numerator / denominator. So it's bottom heavy because
Bottom feeder.
the degree is greater on the bottom,
2, 3.
Okay, cool.
which makes the asymptote
I just used the wrong
0.
color.
0.
Gosh darn it. It's fine. -2.
No, I've been married a long time ago.
when you have two vertical asymptotes, you're gonna have something in this general area, something in the middle, and then something over here, kind of like when we did piecewise functions.
Mr.
Let's say a
Rude?
tic-tac-toe board.
But it's
one of the
not
lines.
as fun.
It's not as fun, but like still. Maybe one of us can win.
So usually if there's 3 asymptotes, it either looks like this,
Yes.
or like this, or like this, something like that.
What is that?
It's like it like goes through.
I think
that's
I have
like
a
the
freckle
one
on
where
my
it goes through the
nose.
asymptotes.
That might be
Alright,
a
so,
sunspot. You
we're
might
gonna
need
find
to get
out
checked.
by finding
No, I'm
intercepts.
kidding.
Okay, x-intercept. Make y 0 and solve. You can use your simplified or your not simplified, or your factored or your not factored. Doesn't matter. First step would be to multiply.
Which is 0. The answer is also 0.
So you have no x-intercepts.
Wait, why'd you take the other one?
If we wanted to.
Doesn't matter. I don't know. I just did. Y-intercept.
Wait.
For the y-intercept, you're gonna plug 0
How does
in
equal
for
to
your
6?
x's.
Wouldn't it just be -1?
It's okay, don't listen to Tristan right now.
It's
Just
0
keep going.
minus 6.
So it's -1.
It's
What
not
are you
0
talking
minus
about?
6.
The top?
Are you talking about this?
The bottom is -1. The y-intercept is negative.
This is the x-intercept. X-intercept is nothing. Y-intercept is 6 over 0 minus 6, which is -6, and you get -1.
Well,
so
I was
you're
doing that for the first one.
oh no. Y-intercept is -1. X-intercept does not exist.
X-intercept is false.
But why doesn't it exist?
Why?
Why? Because we have a horizontal asymptote going through the x-axis.
Literally because why?
Oh, so whenever
It
it goes
doesn't exist because when we solve this equation, you multiply this over and you get 0 equals 6, which isn't true, and it's also not solvable. You can pick this up on Friday. There is Math Excel for this. I want you to try to do it, and there's going to be a worksheet. It would do something like this.
Oh my god, it's a parabola.
And then the other 2 pieces are going to be somewhere over here.
This is like the most like unattractive day I've ever had in my life.